Hi, I'm Bonnie Roy from Minnesota Protective Parents and from the Minnesota Stop Abuse Campaign. I'm here tonight with Donna, who is the main leader for the custody project, and she has traveled a long way to come here to Minnesota, so thank you for coming. She has a very important drive here. We're reaching out for people to look at this, the seriousness of how mothers and children have been affected in the court system, to recognize that there are definitely very well-intended people out there that want to step up and do the right thing to help. So if you would like to just explain a little bit about how long you've been doing this and give a little history.
The Custody Project has been in operation for over 20 years. We help qualified mothers with legal expenses for custody and visitation. And so through the years, usually complex cases find us. So our drive is to acknowledge these mothers in our country who are often voiceless, forgotten, unseen, unheard, unsupported, and there are, as far as I know, very few services for them across the country to help them with these issues.
Can you just give a little history about what the goal of your drive is?
Yes, we are conducting our national drive to raise awareness for these families, for these mothers and their children. And these are mothers who deal with custody, visitation, move-away issues, the complications of the family court system, absent or inadequate child support, the inability to afford counsel or sporadic counsel as the money comes and goes. Usually they will barter all assets to protect their children. Sometimes they're dealing with attorneys, no money, no mas, and we try to encourage them to find attorneys that stand with them through the entire course. And oftentimes we will assist in setting up no interest payment plans with attorneys. We also will give grants to mothers to their attorneys, or to help them with other costs that come up when they are so stretched with legal expenses. We want to also acknowledge on our drive those who suffer domestic violence, those who have their kids disclosing that they're being treated negligently or abusively, whether physically or sexually or in different other ways. Mothers who step up as the first line of defense for their children, whether they're as the first witnesses or the first to hear, they step forward to reach out to the police or CPS or the family law courts to ask for assistance to protect these children. Sometimes they have custody taken from them because it is interpreted that they are only trying to block the visitation contact with the other parent. And when you're dealing with these issues, that can be a grave mistake. So these mothers are supporting and trying to help these children to the very best of their ability, and they certainly need all of our help. Some of these mothers deal with legal attempts to remove custody. Some of them deal with legal restraints that prevent them from improving the quality of life for their families. Some of them are dealing with the kidnapping of their children and the removal of their children. And in our case, we see different levels of kidnapping, different types of kidnapping, some of which seems to be court sanctioned. So that's another area where mothers need to educate and learn how to avoid some of this from happening. And then there are also those families, those mothers who successfully hit the legal bars in order to do a successful move away, or to, again, successfully protect their kids and get the orders, good visitation orders that they need. Just one or two more thoughts. Most of these cases boil down to requesting the court for an excellent visitation schedule that meets on a case-by-case basis the needs of each family. So we are doing this to lift awareness nationwide. These are nationwide issues, and And then if you do want to donate on our website, you would go to www.thecustodyproject.org. And we're asking if you use our donate online buttons to please look at the PayPal givingfund.org, because 100% of the donations will come to us without any charge. And our federal number is 9545-21373.
And if I could just interject a little bit, in
Thank
regards to, yes, with the Stop Abuse campaign and the efforts here, even in Minnesota, I appreciate you traveling all this way, because we also believe that there has to be proper training when these type of kidnapping and the family court system, because when there's no just cause that either the mother or the father are basically losing custody, and one person is so traumatized financially and has lost children. I appreciate even in your organization where you're recognizing that it is a kidnapping issue, and even to ask for these good judges and attorneys to step forward so fair hearings and trials can actually look at the evidence and find the need, because when the devastational effects, even as in the Safe Child Act, it's recognizing to educate, because if the dynamics would not have been some form of the word corruption, the end results wouldn't be so traumatizing. I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on some of the dynamics, and we are, acknowledging the very wonderful people that are stepping forward, but the levels of the wrongdoing that's happening, it needs to stop, and we need more people to step up.
Yes, one of the examples that came our way, and is, for example, a lot of times a mother is raising her children on her own, pretty much, usually many times without any child support. Some of these fathers have moved on to other wives, they've created other families, some of the guys are in jail, but in this particular case, the summer had come and the paternal grandparents asked if the mother would send the kids, and the grandparents lived in a different state. So she sent the kids for, for example, the 2 weeks, and the next thing she knows, she's completely lost custody. And apparently they had run to their judge in their state and claimed that she just dumped them on them and didn't even want them anymore. And so an ex parte, for example, is what I presume has happened here in another state, without her noticed, without her present, and custody transferred, where the only notice she gets is her children never come back. And then you deal with in many cases, a mother not knowing what to do and running to attorneys and running for help. And then she's told that she might need $5,000 or $10,000 in order to get her children back from essentially a kidnapping.
Absolutely.
So there are different ways that this occurs, but mothers do need to be informed as to how to quickly respond.
Right, and I appreciate this too, because even in regards to when a appropriate action is done, most people, when it's not an abusive situation or a controlling situation, the children and the mother or the father would never be put in such trauma if it was going to be according to the law or having a judge or attorneys involved. And I appreciate where you stated here in your information. However, when the circumstances arise, such as domestic violence, abuse, legal attempts to remove custody, absent or inadequate child support, or legal restraints that prevent mothers from improving the quality of life for their families. And I think that's really a big key, that we're needing that support. We're needing people such as through your organization to step up, and to even like legislators to start looking at the Safe Child Act to get people trained properly in these areas, so that we can stop this and know that there are good people out there that want to help.
One of the statements that I feel fairly strongly about is that when custody and visitation are at issue, that it is inexcusable when loss of contact occurs because of lack of knowledge, lack of representation, and lack of money.
Absolutely.
And all of this, especially for moms, if they're making $10 or $12 or $14 an hour, it cannot be about the money. I mean, you can literally buy a refrigerator on payments over time for the same price that you lose custody of your children because you couldn't come up with $2,000 or $3,000. And that's where all of us, these are our mothers, our sisters, our grandmothers, our daughters, and all of us as donors can step in to create the type of funding. And as you were saying, you want to focus on good judges, good attorneys, great experts. There are just so many people who are able as a team to step forward to protect these children and to help these mothers in a fair-handed way.
Right, and I am in agreement too that even looking at this, our hearts even just go out to all the people that are struggling, especially at different times in the year where our hearts break. And we just know that we want to encourage families to step up, to follow the good ways, and not to be vindictive, not to use children as property, and to really look at the damage that's being created, because we are also setting up counseling services for people to even recognize what this trauma is, because it is trauma. And we just have to keep praying that there's going to be more people that are going to see this and not use the children, and to separate, and to when there is a healthy environment, and even if it isn't, that we just pray that people will seek out the help so that they don't continue the domestic violence, the abuse that happens in families. And we just want to pray over that, and we just know that that will come to.
So this is one of the issues that typically cases that find us, whether a mother is going into court because she has been raising the kids for 6 or 8 years on her own, and has just simply requested a child support award and instead lost custody, essentially for asking. Or mothers who step forward to because their children are disclosing abuse or molest, and they have stepped forward to act to protect them and seem to be punished instead by the courts. So this issue of protecting these kids, of avoiding trauma, part of the argument is if this mother has been on $12 an hour, been taking care of this family for 8 years or 6 years or however long, all by herself, and suddenly has to step in as a witness to say, I need a child support award, or these kids are disclosing and I need a visitation schedule that will properly protect them. This is not a change of circumstances to her detriment.
Absolutely.
This is something that is simply addressed by a great visitation schedule, and keeping the kids stable and creating a schedule that meets their needs.
And repairing the damages that are there, because I know right now there's many families that are living this nightmare, and they're seeking help. So I just pray that a lot of people will go to your website, that they will open their hearts to know that you have a wonderful heart, and you've driven such a long way out here. We appreciate your willingness to come out here and just take a stand for this.
Well, our national drive has turned into a Christmas drive.
Yes.
So Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope we can all step forward.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Did that